The Road to Discovery. Part 18. A New Chapter. The book changed Liam's life, not in a famous, celebrity kind of way, but in a quiet, powerful one. People stopped him in the bookstore and said things like, "And GT, your words made me pack a bag and take my first trip alone. And GT, thank you for reminding me it's never too late to start over." One afternoon, Liam was invited to speak at a local library event. He stood in front of a small crowd, nervous but excited, and shared stories from the road. After the talk, a teenage girl came up to him and asked, "Do you think someone like me can do what you did?" Liam smiled. "I think someone like you can do more than I ever did." That night, as he walked home through the rainy Seattle streets, he realized something important. He had become the kind of person he once looked for on the road. Part 19. A Letter from the Past. Weeks later, Liam received a package with no return address. Inside was a small sketchbook, filled with drawings and journal notes. On the inside cover, it read, "And GT, to Liam. For every mile we traveled, a piece of me stayed behind. I thought it was time to send some of it back. Emily." He turned the pages slowly. Waterfalls, bridges, city skylines, cafe corners, and even a small drawing of them on the Brooklyn Bridge. At the back was a note. "And GT, I'm heading to Europe next. But maybe one day we'll cross paths again. Until then, keep discovering. Keep writing." He closed the book and placed it on his desk beside his notebook. It felt like the road was still with him, even if he was no longer on it. Part 20. Speaking to Strangers. Liam began to travel again, but this time, differently. He visited schools, libraries, and small town festivals, sharing his story and listening to others. One weekend, he met an elderly woman in Montana who had never left her town. "I always wanted to see the ocean," she said. Liam sat with her for 2 hours, showing her photos and telling her about the sound of the waves, the feel of the sand, the color of the sunrise over the Atlantic. She closed her eyes and smiled. "Now I feel like I've seen it." He realized then, you don't always need to move to travel. Sometimes, stories are enough. Part 21. The Reunion. A year passed. Liam's life was stable, peaceful, even joyful. But one morning, he received an email that made his heart stop. "And GT, subject, Seattle this weekend? Hey, stranger. I'll be in Seattle for a few days. Want to catch up over coffee? Emily." They met at a small cafe near the bookstore. She looked different. Her hair shorter, her clothes more colorful, but her eyes were the same. They talked for hours about everything and nothing. At one point, Liam said, "It's strange. I wrote about you, about us. I didn't even know if you'd ever read it." Emily smiled. "I read every page. They didn't make any big decisions that day. No promises, no plans. Just a shared moment. Like so many before." Part 22. A second journey. Months later, they began a second road trip. This time, as friends who had grown, changed, and matured. They drove north into Canada, through the forests of British Columbia, the mountains of Alberta, the quiet lakes of Ontario. But the road felt different. Now, they didn't need to rush. They didn't need to search. They were simply there, present, curious, open. And this time, when they sat by a campfire under the stars, there was no question left unspoken. "Would you ever settle down somewhere?" Liam asked. Emily smiled. "Maybe. If the right place, or person, came along. Liam reached for her hand. I think I found both. Part 23. Full circle. Years passed. Liam and Emily eventually settled in a small town near the ocean in Oregon. They opened a tiny bookstore and art gallery called the Discovery House. Travelers stopped by often, some who had read Liam's book, others who were just lost and curious. There was a bench outside the door with a carved sign. And GT. Sit. Breathe. Begin. Again. Children came for art lessons. Teenagers came for advice. Retired couples came for stories. And sometimes, late at night, Liam and Emily would walk along the shore, listening to the waves. I never thought this is how the story would end, Liam once said. Emily smiled. Maybe it's not ending? Maybe it's just part 2. Part 24. Legacy. Years later, Liam published another book. This one wasn't just about travel. It was about life, love, fear, hope, and the beauty of not knowing what comes next. It became a quiet classic, shared in schools, quoted at weddings, gifted at graduations. One of the final lines read, "And GT, the road, never truly ends. It just leads you back to yourself." Now we have reached the end of this part, dedicated to today, but the story is still ongoing. Wait for the next parts and do not forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel to receive all our videos.